Dave Ramsey and Rachel Hollis are basically the same person. It's pretty obvious. So I'm about to say something that's a little critical of both of them. The words I desperately needed and wanted to hear. The answer. And it's all here. Most of the women that Rachel Hollis targeted were my name is Rachel from the blog Budgets and Kale, and I'm here today with my cat Kiwi to talk to you about how Dave Ramsey and Rachel Hollis are the same person. Okay, so maybe not the same person, but there are a lot of similarities between the two. So we're gonna kind of talk about those, their audience, and perhaps even a couple of criticisms. Not really sure yet. We're gonna see how this goes. We're also going to talk about why these two are so popular and what made them so wildly successful. So first of all, if you have been living under a rock, comment below if you know where that's from. I'm curious. Dave Ramsey is the founder of Ramsey Solutions, and he and his team of other speakers and authors help bring financial literacy throughout the world, primarily in the United States. Rachel Hollis is the founder of the Hollis Company with her husband, Dave Hollis, and she is also an author and speaker, and she brings awareness and gives people the tools to help them change their lives. Similarity number one is that both Rachel Hollis and Dave Ramsey are #1 New York Times bestselling authors. So the book that you probably know Rachel Hollis from is Girl Wash Your Face, which went viral in the year of 2018. And the #1 New York Times bestselling book by Dave Ramsey is The Total Money Makeover. I want to bring up a point that is a theme in both of these bestselling books, and I think has been a reason why these books became so popular. Both of these books carry the theme between Dave Ramsey and Rachel Hollis that in some way our culture has lied to us, and that these people have the tools to help you go against that culture and become successful in your own way. So for Dave Ramsey, his book here on the back says, recognize the 10 most dangerous money myths. And then he helps you kind of move beyond those money myths and set up a path to lead you to financial peace and wealth and being able to give and things like that. Whereas Rachel Hollis, her tagline on the top of her book says, stop believing the lies about who you are so you can become who you are meant to be. So both Dave Ramsey and Rachel Hollis are giving you this information to help you get better, which is great. But that is something common that I've noticed that I think really gets people interested and really hooked them and tagged them and made them want to read the books, and is also what made them want to share the books because they're giving you a plan. My next point on why Rachel Hollis and Dave Ramsey are similar and have become so successful is probably the biggest one. But before we get into that, make sure to like this video and subscribe so you don't miss out on more content, and make sure to leave any comments if you have video requests down below. All right, so what is the next point that I have? The reason why Rachel Hollis and Dave Ramsey are so popular is because their audience is hearing this information for the first time. So I'm about to say something that's a little critical of both of them, and that is that the information in this book and this book are not rocket science. A lot of the information is pretty basic and pretty simple, and if you step back and take a look at it, it's pretty obvious. But a lot of their audience who is so ingrained with these hadn't heard it before, including myself. So I am very open about that. Both of these books really changed my life the first time that I read them. When I went back into them and had done some work on myself, we'll get into that, I read them through a totally different lens and thought, it's so obvious, like so obvious. So much of Dave Ramsey and Rachel Hollis's core audience hadn't heard this information before. I think what made Dave Ramsey's Total Money Makeover so popular is that a lot of the people who read this truly hadn't ever been told a plan of how to achieve financial wealth. Before, they just were living their lives in what was normal. Again, those money myths that we talked about before. So when people were given this tool and this guide, they ate it up because they'd never been told this is how you can be successful with money. Like, just do these things and you'll feel better and be successful and be on this path to financial freedom. Yes, if you've never heard that, suddenly you feel like you have the answer. And it's all here. And similarly with Rachel Hollis in Girl Wash Your Face, my very critical sounding opinion is that most of the women that Rachel Hollis targeted were women who had never read a self-help book before, but probably should have. And I am one of those people, so I'm not just sitting here and trying to slam on anyone who's read this book. Absolutely, when I read this book, I was in a place that was very negative. I had postpartum depression and anxiety. When I read this book, it really did change my life. Now, a year later, I read this book, I couldn't even get through half of it. But when I read it a year ago, it was the words I desperately needed and wanted to hear. And I think that's how a lot of other women felt too, because she's telling you these lies that culture has told us, and then how to get over them. She has, at the end of every single chapter, things that helped me. So just like Dave Ramsey has his 7 baby steps to financial freedom, similarly, Rachel Hollis lists off different lies, and at the end, she has her things that helped me. So for this one, the chapter is called The Lie, I'll Start Tomorrow. For things that helped me on I'll Start Tomorrow include starting with one small goal, being careful with my commitments, and being honest with myself. So Dave Ramsey gives a plan, and Rachel Hollis gives a plan. So both Rachel Hollis and Dave Ramsey not only help you with a plan, but they give you very specific examples within their books that help you move towards your goals. Another thing that Dave Ramsey and Rachel Hollis have in common that has helped them become so popular is that they both use their own personal stories throughout their books. Dave Ramsey talks about some heartbreaking things, including bankruptcy in his and his wife's financial story. And Rachel Hollis talks about a lot of her own personal issues with the lies that she shares, from nearly alcoholism to being unmotivated to her own postpartum depression as well. So both Rachel Hollis and Dave Ramsey are pulling in that relatability that really helps their audience feel engaged and like they're talking to someone who's been there, because they're talking to someone who's been there. And for those reasons, everyone feels like they have this connection and that they really want to believe. And the last major thing that Dave Ramsey and Rachel Hollis have in common is that they're both huge cheerleaders. Dave Ramsey literally screams at his audience about certain things, and he does not come to play, and neither does Miss Rachel Hollis. So Rachel Hollis also makes sure to say that you are in charge of your own story. She's extremely motivational. Her second book, which just came out, is called Girl Stop Apologizing, and that's all about your guide to shame-free living and meeting your goals. And Dave Ramsey is all about be weird, be different, it's okay. And both of them are very aggressive in the motivation factor of you are in charge of your own story, you have all of this personal responsibility and different things. Now, I do have some criticisms on a point there, and I think a lot of people have gone into these more, but what I'm really quickly going to say is that I think neither Dave Ramsey or Rachel Hollis sincerely addresses different advantages that people might have. So this kind of gets into privilege, and I'm not really going to touch on it too much, but I will say that Rachel Hollis in a lot of ways does not acknowledge certain privileges. Like, for instance, her husband was a Disney executive, which allowed her to be able to work at home with childcare, which I personally know is a major thing. Not everyone is on the same playing field. That's all I'm going to say on that for now. This is kind of a criticism point that I have, but again, Dave Ramsey and Rachel Hollis are catering to a massive audience, and they can't go on an exactly one-to-one basis with a single book. Let me know if you want to see another video on that, and I might make a video with a little bit more criticism in it. But for this, I really just wanted to compare the two because there are a lot of similarities when you look at them too. And the other thing that I think is funny is that Rachel Hollis actually follows Dave Ramsey. So she's referenced him several times. She's even mentioned that with her company, the Hollis Company, they've built their new headquarters and that they were able to purchase it debt-free. And she even said Dave Ramsey would be proud. So I thought that was funny considering this video. But I hope you guys enjoyed this. Let me know down below if you think there's anything else I missed that's similar between the two, because I'm pretty sure if I sat here even longer and thought about it, I would be able to find more similarities. So I'm really curious what you guys have to say about that. And again, make sure to like this video and subscribe for more budget-related content, grocery hauls from Aldi, and healthy living things. I'd love to have you join the Budgets and Kale family. Thank you so much. Have a great day. Bye.